Okay, here with Jayson Werth, who, after retiring from Major League Baseball, has kind of stepped into the horse racing realm. So, what's that been like, and why'd you get into it?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like I didn't find horse racing. Horse racing found me. I wasn't looking for anything. I actually started playing golf down in Florida with some guys that owned some Florida breds, and it kind of like just spawned into this, new new life, I guess. I got into some nice fillies with some guys, and then I was like, all right, this is cool. Let's branch out a little bit. And my first colt I bought was Dornick, who won the Belmont last year, and it's just he runs 10th in the Derby, he wins the Belmont, he wins the Haskell, and then I got this crazy idea like, well, I want to keep doing this, but it's hard to compete against billionaires and sheiks and some of the richest people in the world. It's a sport of kings, after all. So I decided to start my own syndicate and put a fund together, and we raised some money last year for to buy horses, and then this year we're on our second round, and we got a lot of interest. And I don't know. It's crazy. We had Flying Mohawk got us into the Derby again this year. He was out of place. Obviously, it wasn't his. He's a turf horse, but we're like, I think if a horse gets enough points to run in the Derby, you do it every time. So he got out of the race okay. Last week he was supposed to run in the Belmont Derby in Saratoga, and he got colic and had to have surgery. So that was a little bit of a downer. But here we are. We're in our second year of our syndicate, and we've got some nice horses in the stable, and there's nothing else I'd rather do, really.
When it comes to that Belmont race, obviously seeing him coming down the stretch, what emotions were you feeling, and how exciting was that for you?
Oh, it's as excited as you can get. I tell people, like, look, the bigger the race, the bigger the moment. Just like the bigger the games, the the playoffs, whatever it is. It's all, the stage. It's the same circus, just bigger tent. And with the Belmont, it was one of those deals where he was the second to last long shot in the field. So, it was kind of like his last chance in horse racing to become a sire. Like, as for the Colts, you want to become a sire, right? You got to win big races to become a sire. So it was his last chance, and he's kind of overlooked and second to last long shot in the field. And so when he was coming down, the front straightaway there with Mindframe kind of passing him, and him digging in and showing the heart of a champion, the true champion that he is. It's really hard to put into words what that means for him, what that means for us, and and I tell people, like, in sports, when you win big games, you do it on the field with your teammates or the court or whatever, and then you look up at your family and friends and you wave to them in the stands, and maybe you see them in the tunnel 10, 15, 20 minutes later, but that moment's gone. In horse racing, you do it with the people you want to do it with. You do it with your family. You do it with your friends. You do it with your parents. Your kids, and you get to grab them and then do and embrace them and either celebrate the win or, like, suck on the loss. Like, whatever it is, it's you do it with the people you want to do it, and that's what's so special about horse racing. It really is just like this family environment. It's just and the horses become part of your family too.
Definitely. I mean, my grandpa raced quarter horses, so I grew up with all of that stuff. So
I know.
I understand that.
Yeah.
When it comes to, did you ever grow up around horses or anything like that?
Not really. I mean, I did have a job one summer at a horse farm. I think I was like 13 or something, 12 or 13. It wasn't a real job, but I was around some horses. But that was it. No. And again, I wasn't even looking to get into horse racing. It was just kind of like one of those things where I went to a race. And as an owner, you go into the paddock, and then there's the trainer. Here's the jockey, and you're listening in on the plan for the race. The horses are walking around, and it's like it's like Game of Thrones or something. It's like it's hard to describe it. Then you kind of listen in, and you're like, all right, on three, like team. You have nothing to do with it, but still you feel like it. And then they go riders up. The jockeys get on the horses, and they get on the track, and you're losing your mind. You're like coming out of your skin, like you're nervous as can be because you don't know what's going to happen. You have no control over it, and then the gates open, and that's where the hook was set, because then I felt like I was back on the field again. Then I'm like, it's like you're in the dugout in a big game, and one of your teammates is up with the bases loaded. You're down 2, and he hits a ball into the gap, and you're screaming the guy around from first round to score to win the game, and that's what horse racing feels like. And for people that have played sports at any level, once you get done playing sports, there's really no going back. You can't. There's nothing to evoke those emotions. You can play pickup basketball, you can play golf, you can do this, but like the thrill of being in the moment of a sport is hard to replicate. So once I found horse racing, I was like, all right, this is it.
And I do want to touch on 2/8 racing and what that means, and I believe you're trying to get retired athletes into horse racing as well.
Yeah, so 2/8 Racing was my original syndicate. We started Icon Racing now. That's the partnership that we're crowdfunding and breaking down the barriers of entry to horse racing. Horse racing is an incredibly challenging sport to get into, but with Icon, pretty much anybody can get in. There are some barriers still, depending on your level of investment, but investment, I use that word loosely because I think it's closer to buying season tickets, right? With a lotto ticket attached to it. So it is gambling, but it is entertainment. At the end of the day, I think you're just buying an experience, and that's what I think is the big sell. But Icon Racing, iconracing.com. You can send me an email. We've got I have social media for the first time in my life. Me and Sean Kelly, we started a podcast, Off the Rail podcast. We talk about horse racing. We tell baseball stories. We get cool guests on there, and really that's just a way to bring people into the sport and get more people involved. Because I think ownership, where the real ticket horse racing is owning the horses, and that's what we're offering.